Thank you so much, Vyom.
Thank you, Mr. Sharma. Thank you so much for the platform and everything. I'm truly honored.
Yeah, this is an event for which actually almost we wait the whole year because this is such a space. We as a financial publication, the money in organizations, what they are thinking, what is engaging their attention always excites us. So here, I think it might, just for the audience, I think it's important that I mention that the point that when we have Mr. Vyom Doshi on the stage here, we have here a CFO of a leading law firm in the country, AZB Partners, in a world that is more about M&A deals, cross-border deals. We know what the excitement with which Zia Modi mentions about the different things that are happening and the pedigree that she has in this legal world. What my first question essentially, so that there is a connect with the CFOs who are here, and essentially is that being the CFO of a leading law firm, how is that role different from, let's say, a CFO in a product or a solutions company?
Thank you, Kumar. So to start with, I'm being called Kuber in my organization, distributor of wealth, which is jokingly being called by everyone. And Zia is called Lakshmi because she has given me the responsibility to distribute wealth to people. Okay. On a serious note, basically, I belong to an industry where I sell the time of people.
Sell the time of people.
People, as in my lawyers.
Yeah.
What sells over here is the quality of time which goes. So in that sense, it's pretty different. So as a CFO, my job is to see the resource efficiency in terms of all the different teams which we have and ensure that a particular team is efficient enough. And in case there is a little deviation in efficiency, then where can this team help another team or another practice area in supporting their efforts? So that is one. Second thing is I have to go through a lot of different practice areas, and I have to talk to the management and tell them that, okay, these are the top practice areas which we are doing. We should be tapping on more practice areas. Let's say AI. So probably there will be too much of regulations in terms of AI and compliance and litigation in future, which is one of the practice areas which we need to explore. Secondly, we also need to explore the different locations where we can make our presence. For example, right now the gift city, it looks a lucrative proposition for a law firm to expand. Other than that, going through the regular ELs of the clients, helping the clients to have the escrow arrangements, making their statutory, helping them to have the statutory payments of stamp duties on share purchase agreements and transfers. I think this is a very different CFO role per se as compared to a product company.
Yeah, no, I think a range of activities, and essentially, while you mentioned the point about selling the time of people, would it, for instance, those who are in the consultancy space, or for example, the IT sector, for example, where we are not yet become the consultants to global companies, but we are getting there, or at least aspiring to be there. Would some of these aspects be deployable there, or in any specialized skill that you need to have for this?
So here the basic time which sells is the lawyer time, who come from different, probably have studied law differently, in the sense some may be from a real estate lawyer or probably an M&A lawyer. So, the deployment within the area may be possible.
Okay. One of the things that we discussed earlier when we were talking, actually, you mentioned this point about transitioning from support function to an enabler. Those are the words you used, actually.
Yes.
That the CFO today is moving from this to that. In going by your experience and example, moving from an support function to an enabler in a law firm scenario, what would that be?
So again, coming back to the same point, the old traditional definition of a CFO is not only a cost control, but now he works with the management to see the growth potential in the different areas and segments. I just gave you an example of exploring different practice areas. Also regularly looking at the top 10 clients of the firm, where for probably a couple of years and just see where we can expand more. In terms of, again, looking at different practice areas where we should tap in more. Let's say why my IP practice is not doing so well as my M&A practice. Do we need to deploy more resources over here? Do we need to have are we supposed to be more efficient in terms of the profitability? All those aspects you closely work with the management.
I see, okay. The other thing which I think may be of interest maybe to people outside of legal firms as well is this, when we also discuss this point, that since the CFO today is not the bean counter of the year, or is not necessarily the finance controller per se, that function continues, but not the only function, as it were.
Absolutely.
And that he or she has to look at a wide range of things. You mentioned points about vendor review, digitization, employment engagement, annual budgets, to even ESG. You mentioned those points when we discussed last about their roles. So what are the processes that need to be set in motion to ensure this? I'm asking this in terms of processes to look at a wide range of things like this, so that it may be of use to other CFOs as well, if there is something that we can draw from this.
So let me just give you a simple example of, let's say, we want to have a vendor on panel. We would have a process which is so robust that you take quotations from 3 vendors and then have a required due diligence process. Check the quality over the years and replace that vendor after a 3-year thing. Or in case we are happy with the service, then negotiate and renegotiate. But just to ensure fairness in the system, moving the vendors after a 3-year ensures that everything is fair and honest. That's one. Second thing is, I was talking about the ESG activities. So the simple example being cost efficient in terms of replacing all the lights with LEDs, or probably an auto switch off and on. Just when you enter the room, the lights will switch on. Ensuring a lot of employee training in terms of honoring your own talent are the activities which otherwise a CFO now needs to focus on. And so it may be a role of an admin, or take a role of an HR also. And I think everyone works as a team.
Okay. But in terms of honing, see, this is again a very specialized field. And I'm asking this question with the intention, because almost every business function, like auto again, has a very specialized way in which some skills are needed. Today morning we had a session where there was a healthcare CEO. So the question there was M&A skills that we need emphasis on. So similarly, in your kind of practice, when evaluating, doing the reviews and all, is there any specialized skill that particularly you need to constantly hone yourself in?
I think it's of course, moving with the technology and understanding how to learn the newer technologies via the system, and ensuring that the processes are made so simple that you need to learn all this. Like, I'll just give you an example. During COVID days, where originally we were taking retainer invoices from all the retainers who work with us. We did a digitalization of all the invoices. Now the invoices come via an email or saved in the portal, which is saving a lot on paper. At the same time, making it very easy for a resource to be remotely working from anywhere, but ensuring that the invoices are submitted on time. There is the entire reimbursement model has been put on a digital mode, wherein the paper copies and everything can be avoided.
Okay.
So, just updating yourself on the technology and the latest happenings in the industry,
Okay.
as well as otherwise as a finance function, is the
Okay.
key.
Okay. The other part is actually while you mentioned about technology, so taking from there actually, when the CFOs are not capable, to make them capable of, let's say, uh, providing real-time insights, perhaps, on either receivable management or inventory, uh, how is that system to be made more efficient? And this may be something which may be workable beyond law firms as well.
Absolutely. So, a law firm structure is where there is a senior management, the stakeholders, then we have a series of partners as a designation, and then we have the senior associates and associates in line who basically help in getting the revenue for the firm. So, again, as I said here, a person's time is the most important because that is what we build, the services. So, providing a clear insight on a regular basis, probably real-time basis, to all the partners in terms of their inventory or their receivables. So we've have dashboards created for the partners, wherein on a real-time basis they can see what has been received as a payment, what is yet to be receivable, and what is my inventory which needs to be sent. Now my job doesn't end there. I need to discuss with the partner at regular intervals and ensure that why, if this is not yet billed, why is it not yet billed? Or what are the timelines which I see when this will happen? And then regularly have my team of EAs to follow up with the partners and ensure that the billing is moved. Or if something is not yet collected, why is it not collected?
Like how will this be different from, let's say, an IT services company, for example, wanting to look in terms of, either body shop or brain shopping, when either providing services or consultancy or whatever. How will this
So
be
this is
different
very
from?
similar to consultancy services, but in a legal transaction, sometimes there are milestone billing, sometimes there are monthly billing. So there are so many different scenarios which you need to tap on. And what is for the CFO to understand is to ensure that all this is understood and ultimately getting the results from the partners in terms of the money ultimately.
The other thing which particularly I'm curious about is, see, and we have not discussed this point, and actually I just, as you are mentioning, it has occurred to me now. See, you work with in an organization which has an iconic head, in the sense that Zia Modi, for example. How much of a advantage and a challenge is it to work with iconic heads? Because you come up with ideas, it is not something that you can challenge what they say, for example. A CFO has to come up with ways in which to ensure that he is not. I hope you understand the point. Essentially, it's about dealing with the positives and challenges of, let's say, having an iconic head.
Absolutely. So, it's been 13 years with AZB now, and working so closely with the stakeholders. I think by now, over the period of years, you have to respect their time, and time is so precious for them. So you have to convey your point in the limited time which they have. So over the years, you get that talent to deal with the managing partners. So my discussion with Zia will probably be what should we be looking at, what is my billing, what is my collections which is happening on a regular basis. I need to update her on that. Yes, it is challenging at times when finding them in a good mood because they are so busy, and finding them uh, in the right time frame or mind frame probably to ensure that my work gets done. That is how it is. So
But in terms of newer ideas, for example, when you are thinking of out of the box or thinking in terms of newer ways. Like for example, when you're talking of be a gift city thing, or whether you're talking in terms of performance, looking at newer competencies and all of that. So compared to their own understanding of how the landscape is, which you might want to challenge and say that perhaps it is this. So how do CFOs in such environments thrive when there is a huge shadow of a iconic leader or something? So
I think shadow is not something which is deterrent. In fact, it's more helpful to you. You learn the language in which you need to convey to your managing partner. And it's just spending time with her. Probably not, maybe 5 out of your 10 decisions may be dismissed, but 5 may be taken for discussion. And probably, see, the great part with Zia is that she's a very good, great and fast decision maker. So you need that one quiet hour to just explain to her and just close it. And it's an immediate closure. It's in general a law firm that the decisions don't last for more than a day or so. They are taken quickly and immediate. And I believe that the decision which is taken the fastest is the best decision probably.
how do you upskill yourself? Like, you must be seeing CFOs in law firms abroad, especially in your domain where it is about M&A deals and cross-border deals and all. So how do you A, find time, and B, areas where you actually try and upskill or whatever? How do you keep yourself engaged with that?
So I guess regular reading will help, and otherwise just talking to all the stakeholders of different practice areas at the same time, talking to the CHRO and everything. Because, as I told you, a CFO in a law firm is not only a CFO, he looks into a lot of other areas. So you need to understand how a CTO also functions and understand the latest technologies which he's adopting. At the same time, how does an HRMS function? At the same time, how deals are structured in an M&A deal. So that is how you need to keep yourself updated, because you need to know everything ultimately.
Yeah, that's true. Finally, I think I want to just to connect with the audience here before I go throw it open for questions. Is, in your view, based on your experience, since you're dealing with talent and people and knowledge sharing, and essentially evaluating the time spent, or as was mentioned a while ago, ROTI, return on time invested, and evaluating that in terms of the returns as a result of that. What would be your takeaways for CFOs who are, let's say, not necessarily in law firms, but in other firms, but have the similar challenge?
For me, basically a CFO is someone now who is not only focusing on how to maximize profit in terms of saving on the expenses, but also partnering with the management and the stakeholders in growing the business. I would always feel the later is better, because that is when you are actually a partner in real sense. Is again looking at the newer avenues to grow your income.
Okay. Say, if I have understood correctly, say for example, when you, about 13 years or so, when you started out, let's say, some of the things which used to be your priority compared to what has become your priorities now, can you give us a sense of that? I'm just using that as an example to understand in terms of how the landscape is slowly changing.
Sure. So, I was hired way back in 2012 for a specific purpose on ensuring cost control and reduction. Over the period, over the years, I think that I've been pretty successful in that. But talking to the management and understanding, I think that is important. At the same time, what is more important is how to grow your business in terms of timely reporting to the partners and ensuring that the time is valued and correctly charged. Let me give you an example. So a rate revision which is required at a regular interval with the clients will of course optimize your revenue. At the same time, ensuring that the efficiency of a resource is met with various reporting. So you understand that, yes, if my resource is idle, the system will tell that my resource is idle and he needs work. Either deploy him in another project. At the same time, timely billing, because ensuring a timely collection, you need to ensure that there is a timely billing. So all this focus, which is cost reduction, has now moved to avenues in maximizing the revenue, is a shift.
To maximizing the revenue, actually. So,
Yes.
and most people, actually, the CFOs that we, since morning, which we have been talking to and listening to them, is they have been talking of data. And even the previous session that you had was about insights from data. Even technology was earlier used as a cost reduction entity, cost reduction tool. And later on, it became in terms of competitive advantage.
Absolutely.
And now it has become in terms of insights.
Absolutely.
So when that has been the shift in terms of deployment of technology, the priorities for the CFO also would have accordingly changed, isn't it?
I think priorities don't change, they just add for a CFO.
Okay.
So that is what I have observed.
Which is the latest addition in your case?
So latest addition in my case is understanding the partner's performance.
But partners has been a challenge all along, isn't it?
Yes, it is. I mean, now you want your partners to, so we give targets to our partners, and understanding there, what the soft skills which our partner is given is how can they cross-sell to another practice. All that is now measured, and again, it's for a CFO to partner with the stakeholders and understand that which partner is doing well in which area, where is the cross-sell credit given to him, where is the resource utilization credit given to him. And of course, the main thing is contribution in terms of money.
Okay. Last point which I want to ask before I throw it open to questions is the scope for innovation. There are multiple sources of raising revenues. There are multiple ways in which to look at business models and all of that. In a law firm kind of a scenario, where is the scope for CFOs to innovate? Which are some of the domains where they can innovate and bring in some newer elements that can enhance the business or expand it?
As I just give you an example, probably newer avenues, something like exploring a gift city model, something probably taking up newer practice areas.
Newer practice areas. Okay.
Absolutely.
I see. Okay. Any questions? Anyone would have a question about when dealing with as a CFO, dealing with people and evaluating their time spent effectively and efficiently. Does anyone have any question for Mr. Doshi? Yes, please. Could you just identify yourself briefly and then a brief question?
Hello, my name is Himanshu Mangani. I have a startup doing research and development for artificial intelligence, IoT, and blockchain. So coming on to that, like some of my friends were in Byju's during our engineering time, but then I was the one who was not willing to get into it. Anyways, I put a LinkedIn post which got viral in 2022. My family came down to Ahmedabad to tell me I'm getting insane because a lot of things are happening and I'm telling this, there will be a failure later on, right? Regarding the recording of data, analyzing all those things. But after 2 years, I get a call from that friend of mine that I was telling, right? So my intention is like to finding a legal tender specific to the startups who are taking investments from cross borders. Are there any opportunities where you are open to discuss the, I would say, NFTs and tokenizations and blockchain, which will help such startups to grow? because they have the ability to collect money. But what I feel, the storage of data as well as the recording of data, so that also need to be upgraded with the speed of them, because that company is in a lot of legal battles. And I don't find my friend who was so much committed to that company under some troubles. So you coming from the corporate law firm, so what is your intake regarding the future of, I would say, funding specific to tokenization, which is for the cross borders and startup of India?
Thank you so much. I have seen, and historically, I think in terms of funding and all, startups still hold a significant presence. And AZB has been advising a lot of startups in the past, and probably post-COVID, I've seen a growth in the startups. So whether it's your funding requirements in terms of your legal documentation and everything, I think, yes, AZB has been helping all the startups.
So do you agree with the tokenization of and the NFTs involved in like startup fundings?
Yes, I do.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Yeah, I think. So thanks so much. I thought we'd probably try.
Thank you so much.
Right, all the best.
Thank you.